channel
Interesting.
gets really interesting, and we're going to be uncovering how wealth, corruption, and technology are all shaping the landscape of modern India, especially for like the average person.
Okay.
So get ready for some surprising facts and those like only in India anecdotes that'll make you think twice.
Yeah.
So
Color me intrigued. Always up for challenging my assumptions about India.
Carr paints this really stark contrast between like public and private sector banks in India, and he said that walking into a government office can feel like a time warp.
Oh, really?
Think like outdated furniture and endless queues and, just this like pervasive lack of urgency. And he calls this the colonial mindset that still clings to these institutions.
That's fascinating how these legacies can like linger and even impact efficiency and perceptions of service. Do you think this colonial mindset might even extend beyond just government offices? Like, could be influencing other aspects of Indian society and the economy?
That's a great point. And it leads perfectly into like Carr's argument about how corruption is really like deeply woven into the system. Like he shared this mind-blowing anecdote about an IAS officer in Uttar Pradesh
Okay.
who was raking in a crore
Wow.
every single day from illegal coal mining. A crore.
It's hard to even fathom that scale of illicit wealth.
Yeah.
Really makes you question the integrity of like these systems that are meant to serve the public.
It's truly shocking.
Yeah.
And it gets even crazier. He cites this ADR report revealing that like the average net worth of Indian politicians is a whopping 36 crore.
Whoa.
And for those facing criminal charges, it's even higher, 50 crore.
That's a staggering disparity in wealth. I wonder if this concentration of wealth, particularly among those potentially involved in illegal activities, might contribute to a sense of disillusionment or distrust among the general public.
Absolutely. And Carr argues that it all comes down to incentives or the lack thereof. There's very little motivation for honesty.
Right.
And the consequences for those who speak out can be pretty severe. So it creates this vicious cycle that's incredibly hard to break. And this pervasive corruption, it undoubtedly impacts like daily life and economic opportunities for just everyday people.
It's a sobering thought how those like systemic issues can trickle down and impact individuals on such a personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you think this is an exclusively Indian problem, Carr offers a different perspective. He reminds us that corruption has existed throughout history,
Of course.
even in countries like the U.S. Remember all those bribed geologists back in 1600s America?
Right. Good reminder that these issues aren't confined to specific borders or cultures. They're human problems that require global solutions.
And to illustrate like a shift towards ethical accountability,
Yeah.
he shares the story of the Phillips family, the electronics giant.
Yeah.
So apparently later generations are like actively trying to undo the environmentally harmful practices of planned obsolescence that their predecessors established.
It's encouraging to see examples of companies acknowledging past mistakes and actively working towards a more sustainable and ethical future. Perhaps this generational shift in thinking could be a catalyst for broader change.
I hope so. This whole discussion about ethical business practices really got me thinking about my own experiences.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely witnessed situations where like cutting corners just seem more important than doing the right thing. And it always leaves a bad taste.
It's that constant tension between what's easy and what's right.
Speaking of ethical complexities,
Yeah.
our deep dive takes an unexpected turn with the story of Osho.
Osho, the spiritual leader. How does he fit into this conversation about wealth and corruption in India?
Well, Carr reveals some lesser-known details about Osho's organization,
Yeah.
and specifically the role of Mashila, his close associate,
Uh-huh.
and he describes her as like a brilliant administrator who was intensely focused on increasing the ashram's revenue.
I'm already intrigued. What were some of her strategies?
Well, according to Carr, they instituted a rule in Rajneshpuram,
Okay.
which was Osho's ashram, where every single room had condoms in the drawer.
That's certainly not what you'd typically associate with a spiritual community.
Right, and that's not all. Mashila introduced these unconventional revenue streams.
Like what?
Like a bar and even a casino
What?
on the ashram grounds. It seems like she was intent on attracting a wealthier, more global crowd.
It's a fascinating example of the intersection between spirituality, business, and the pursuit of wealth.
Right.
It challenges our preconceived notions of what a spiritual community might look like.
It definitely does. And get this, Osho's trademark is actually owned by foreigners who profited from his notoriety. And his disciples are still fighting these legal battles to regain control of his legacy.
Wow. It's fascinating how branding and intellectual property can become entangled in these complex situations.
Yeah.
And it raises questions about who ultimately benefits from a figure like Osho's legacy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, are you ready to dive into the world of India's tax system?
absolutely. This is a topic that directly impacts everyone, so I'm eager to hear Carr's take on it.
Well, Carr doesn't hold back, calling India's tax system skewed.
Okay.
He argues that the middle class bears the brunt of high taxes, while the wealthy often exploit generous exemptions on agricultural income.
That's a common point of contention in many countries.
Yeah.
How does that imbalance impact the economic landscape, especially for the average citizen?
Well, he paints a pretty grim picture,
Right.
sharing the statistic that a staggering 65% of multimillionaires have renounced their Indian citizenship since 2016.
Oh, wow.
Think about that. That's a huge brain drain and potential loss of resources for the country.
That exodus of wealth raises concerns. It says a lack of faith in the system's ability to protect their assets or provide a stable economic environment.
Exactly. He calls it a wealth exodus and believes it could have serious consequences for India's future.
It's a thought-provoking point. It makes you wonder about the long-term implications for the country's economic growth and development if this trend continues.
Now, before we move on to Carr's advice on personal finance,
Okay.
I'm curious, what's resonating with you so far?
What strikes me the most is this paradox. You have deeply ingrained corruption on one hand, yet on the other hand, you have this incredible entrepreneurial spirit thriving despite these challenges.
I agree.
It's a complex and fascinating dynamic.
Stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll unpack Carr's thoughts on navigating personal finance in the digital age and explore the surprising ways people are generating income in India.
I'm ready for more unexpected insights. Bring it on. Sounds good. So let's delve into Carr's advice on personal finance. Given the economic realities we've discussed, I'm really curious to hear his suggestions.
Well, he's a huge proponent of generating passive income,
Okay.
particularly in this digital age.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. With AI and automation potentially changing the job market as we know it,
Right.
having these diverse income streams
All right.
is more important than ever.
That makes a lot of sense. Diversifying your income can definitely create a sense of security, especially with all those potential disruptions on the horizon.
Hmm.
What are some of the specific avenues he suggests?
Well, Carr emphasizes that you don't need a fancy degree or a ton of money to get started.
Okay.
He actually gives the example of meme creators
Really?
who are making a decent living from their content.
That's a great example of how the digital landscape is changing the game.
Right.
Who would have thought that making memes could become a viable income stream?
Yeah,
It really speaks to the democratization of content creation.
totally. And he also talks about building a social media following and monetizing content through platforms like YouTube. But he cautions, though, that it's not as simple as it might seem.
Right.
He points to the high production value and cost of Mr. Beast's videos as an example.
I can definitely see that. There's so much content out there that standing out requires a significant investment of time, effort, and resources,
Yeah.
right?
And he also mentions affiliate marketing
Right.
as a potentially lucrative path,
Yeah.
especially if you can leverage a platform to promote products or services authentically.
Mm,
Think about the success of companies like One Bomb.
right.
It's all about finding the right niche and building trust with your audience.
Affiliate marketing can be a great way to monetize your passions and expertise.
Exactly.
It's interesting how he ties in these modern digital approaches with the traditional value of professional expertise.
Right. Because he surprisingly still sees a lot of value in these traditional professions, like chartered accountancy.
Oh, okay.
Even with all their complexities, it
Uh-huh.
seems a bit contradictory at first.
It does seem counterintuitive. Why do you think he highlights this seemingly contrasting viewpoint?
He argues that CAs are essential for navigating India's complex tax system,
Okay.
especially for those who want to optimize their finances legally. He even jokes that the convoluted income tax portal is deliberately designed to keep people reliant on CA professionals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty astute observation. Bureaucracy can certainly create barriers and dependencies.
And it's not all about just making money either. He brings up the FIRE concept, financial independence, retire early,
Mm-hmm.
but then kind of offers a counter-argument.
Interesting.
He believes continuous work with a purpose is key to a fulfilling life.
Oh.
It's like he's saying financial freedom is great,
Yeah.
but don't underestimate the importance of finding meaning and purpose in what you do.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It challenges the idea that early retirement is the ultimate goal. It's about finding that sweet spot between financial security and pursuing work that brings you joy and accomplishment.
Absolutely.
This aligns with the idea that work should be more than just a means to an end.
Now, are you ready to explore some of the investment hot topics and trends that Carr analyzes?
Bring it on. What does he have his eye on?
Well, he dives into several key themes,
Okay.
including AI,
Mm-hmm.
defense, social media data, and crypto.
Interesting.
But he seems particularly bullish on the defense sector in India.
Oh, okay.
He highlights the government's push for self-reliance
Okay.
and reducing dependence on imports
Mm-hmm.
for defense technology. He sees a unique opportunity for growth in this sector,
Sure.
especially with India aiming to strengthen its military capabilities on the global stage.
That's interesting. Why defense specifically?
Well, he sees it as a strategic move,
Yeah.
given the geopolitical landscape and
Yeah.
India's aspirations.
It's a strategic moves given the geopolitical landscape and India's aspirations. However, I do wonder if this emphasis on defense could come at the expense of investment in other crucial areas like education or healthcare. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great point to consider.
Yeah.
It's all about balance and priorities, right?
Right.
And speaking of potential disruptions,
Yeah.
he's also quite concerned about AI and its potential impact on employment in India.
Okay.
He predicts massive unemployment in the next 9 years
Wow.
if people don't adapt quickly enough.
That's a valid concern and one that resonates globally as automation and AI begin to reshape various industries.
Mm-hmm.
It really underscores the importance of upskilling and retraining programs to equip the workforce for the jobs of the future.
Exactly.
Right.
And to really hit home the potential of AI,
Go.
he uses the example of China's perceptive AI.
Oh, wow.
Imagine walking into a store,
That's
they
valid.
scan your fingerprint,
Mhm.
and then the system automatically deducts the cost of your purchases
Wow.
as you pick items off the shelves. No checkout lines,
Wow.
no cashiers.
That's both incredibly impressive and a bit unsettling. While the convenience is undeniable, it does raise questions about data privacy and the potential for these technologies to be used for surveillance.
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, remember all that talk about a potential stock market crash?
Yes. What's his take on that?
Well, he's skeptical about these predictions.
Okay.
He emphasizes the role of consistent money flowing into the market.
Yeah.
Like SIPs, insurance investments, and retirement funds.
Okay.
He argues that as long as these inflows continue at their current rate,
Mm-hmm.
a major crash is unlikely.
That's an interesting perspective. He's essentially saying that the steady influx of these investments acts as a buffer against wild market fluctuations.
Precisely. Now get ready because we're about to uncover the world of unconventional wealth
Okay.
and the hidden players in the Indian economy.
All ears.
Carr starts by sharing an anecdote about the diamond merchants of Mumbai.
Okay.
These individuals are incredibly wealthy,
Yeah.
but often operate under the radar,
Mhm.
their fortunes hidden in plain sight.
It's a great point. Wealth isn't always flashy or ostentatious. It can be concentrated in unexpected places and among individuals who prefer to stay out of the limelight.
Exactly.
This makes me think about those informal networks and flows of information that might exist outside traditional financial institutions.
Mm.
It's a hidden world of financial expertise we rarely get to see.
And Carr believes there are unofficial stock market geniuses in India,
Interesting.
making savvy investment decisions that go largely unnoticed by the mainstream.
Okay.
He also touches upon the challenges of bringing back financial fugitives like Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi,
Right.
highlighting the legal hurdles
Yeah.
and international treaties that often protect them.
It's frustrating to see individuals who commit financial crimes exploit legal loopholes and jurisdictional complexities to evade accountability.
I know. Okay, ready for something a bit lighter?
Bring on the weirdness. I'm definitely intrigued.
We're about to delve into the weird side of making money in India.
Right.
Carr has observed some unusual ways people are making money, particularly in response to societal shifts and emerging trends.
Mm-hmm.
For example, he notes the rise of rent-a-boyfriend-girlfriend services.
Wait, rent a boyfriend-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Seriously, what's driving this trend?
He attributes it to increasing loneliness and the desire for companionship, particularly in urban areas
Okay.
where people are often isolated
Yeah.
despite being surrounded by millions.
That makes sense. It highlights the changing social dynamics and the yearning for connection in our increasingly digital world.
And of course, he highlights the enduring power of the food and beverage industry, even in its simplest form, like the tea seller who famously met Bill Gates.
Right.
It's a reminder that basic human needs can be the foundation of successful businesses.
It's a testament to the power of simple pleasures and the timeless appeal of food and drink.
To wrap up this section,
Okay.
he shares a hilarious anecdote about an extravagant Indian wedding
Oh,
and a whole lot of gold.
oh.
Yeah, I can't repeat it here.
Okay, now you have to tell me more about this later.
Deal. Now, in the final part,
All right.
we'll recap all the key takeaways from this deep dive
Okay.
and explore some thought-provoking questions for you to ponder.
I'm ready to synthesize all this fascinating information. Bring on the final insights.
All right. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into Abhishek Kar's insights on wealth and corruption and the forces shaping modern India. Are you ready to bring it all together?
Absolutely. I'm eager to synthesize everything and see what we can take away from all this.
Well, I think Carr's interview really challenged some common assumptions.
Sure.
Remember that story about the diamond merchants of Mumbai?
Yeah, yeah.
It reminds us that wealth can be tucked away in the most unexpected places,
Mm-hmm.
operating outside the systems we typically associate with, financial success.
That story really resonated with me. It highlights the importance of looking beyond the obvious and questioning our preconceived notions of where and how wealth is generated.
And then there's that stark statistic. 65% of multimillionaires
Yeah.
renouncing their Indian citizenship since 2016.
It's a lot.
It's a pretty clear sign that many high net worth individuals are seeking more favorable economic environments elsewhere.
It definitely raises concerns about the economic climate and whether the system is effectively addressing the needs of its wealthiest citizens. Makes you wonder about the long-term impacts on investment and economic growth if this trend continues.
And let's not forget Carr's prediction about AI potentially leading to massive unemployment in India within the next 9 years. That's a serious call to action for all of us, not just in India, but globally.
Absolutely. It highlights the urgency of adapting to the rapidly evolving technological landscape. It's a reminder to embrace lifelong learning, develop new skills, and stay ahead of the curve.
Speaking of actionable advice, what do you think our listeners can take away from this deep dive and apply to their own life, whether it's their financial decisions, career choices, or simply understanding the complexities of modern India?
Well, on a practical level, Carr's emphasis on generating passive income really stood out to me. It's not about getting rich quick, but rather building a foundation of financial stability and having diverse income streams.
I agree. And it's not just about money either. Remember Carr's point about the importance of finding purpose and meaning in your work, even beyond the financial rewards.
Right, yeah.
It's a valuable reminder that a truly fulfilling life involves more than just accumulating wealth. It's about pursuing work that aligns with your passions and makes a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into modern India. We hope you gained some valuable insights and some food for thought. We'll be back next time with another exploration of fascinating topics and insightful perspectives. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
CSI.